3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Buckhouse Podcast. This is episode 19. I am one of your hosts. The other one is Benjamin Buckhouse, my brother. And this is the podcast where we talk about all things that we're interested in. It's just two brothers jumping on a phone call and recording it and sharing with you guys with our thoughts and like what's going on in our world. And that's normally social media based, strategy, business, all kinds of stuff like that. Or it could be video games or sports, whatever. So welcome to the podcast. And in this episode, Ben, what do you even want to get to? We got a lot to talk about. I know my brain's full of a bunch of, I'm stressed. I don't know how you feel about being stressed, but I came back from my family trip and I am overwhelmed with things to do. And it's a lot.
I totally get that. My life's been nothing but stress the last little bit. It seems like if anything can go wrong, it will. And I'm trying to make the most of it, but I totally know what you mean, bro. One thing I did want to talk about on this podcast, though, was your wax. Your wax, bro. We haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah, on the wax company, obviously that's one thing causing the stress. I'm working with partners and everything, and we found a manufacturer. We found how we want to mold the wax. We have decided on the shape of the wax. It's kind of coming down to figure out the split. How much of the company am I willing to give away on top of how much wax do we want to start the season with? So how much funding? So it's looking like I'm going to need an investor of about $50,000. So if you want to invest, bro, or if anyone out there wants to give me $50,000, trust me with your money. I'll kill it. It's one of those things where, we're at the money stage. How much money do we want to put in this thing in year one? And the best part is wax doesn't expire. So if we overshoot the wax quantity, that's not a problem because we can roll it into the next year. It's what if we undershoot? What if this thing takes off and we don't have enough wax? Could we get more mid-season, things like that? So yeah, that's where the wax company is. That's not adding too much stress to my life. Really coming back from a trip, I get work done while I travel, but I am out of town with the family. So we're doing more day activities or things that are going on. But then I do put some things on the back burner, so like emails and something. Thankfully it didn't happen, but I truly almost missed a trip to Finland with this company that wants to sponsor me for this upcoming season. And I was able to get him all the information I needed just in time to actually your boy's going to Finland next year or this year to snowboard, which will be crazy. But just having emails, projects, like I said, invoices for the month. I got so much work to do and I'm just on top of still needing to get daily edits done. And since Cody's not working with me currently, all those edits, things fall on me and that's a big chunk of my day each day. So overwhelmed, man. That is a feeling that I am feeling right now.
Yeah, I'm sure I could imagine you feeling that purely because, like you said, Cody's not there anymore. For the last, how many years? 3 years you've had Cody?
Yeah, I've had Cody in the last 2 summers. I've had him knocking out edits for me.
Yeah, so to have that and then no longer have that, yeah, that is pretty detrimental. That is a change of pace and everything. So.
Well, it's frustrating because I had to let Cody go because of dollar bills, and it's one of those things where, okay, I let Cody go because, money's tight. And then all of a sudden we also, last week, got hit with multiple bills, a vehicle bill for over $2,000, snowmobile bill for over $2,000. I had a couple other things come into play. All of a sudden it's $7,000 just vanished out of my bank account. And it's whoa. And then I'm trying to come up with $50,000 for this wax company. Well, $7,000 of it just vanished to dumb expenses or, things like that. On top of being on a trip, spending more money than you normally do because you're on a trip. And then, it's I'd love to have my employee. Well, that $7,000 was 2 months-ish, almost 2 months of having a full-time employee, And so it's so frustrating, dude. Sometimes life will literally kick you in the balls.
Dude, I get that. And cars are the worst to have issues with. Cars are just the worst to have issues with. Luckily, I haven't had like
Especially because you think they're screwing you.
Oh yeah, dude.
You always feel like they're screwing you, dude.
I'm sure a lot of people feel this way as well, but it's like I wish I knew so much more about cars purely so that way I could make educated decisions about like what I need to do to my car without trusting the people at the the dealerships or people at the mechanic shops. Like I don't trust any of them. Anytime they say something, I always think it's wrong. Like I'm like, nah, they're just trying to get money from me. Like I always just think that. And there was one company I used up in Denver when I was doing some work up there. I need to get my oil changed. So while I was at work, I just dropped my car off. And they did tell me I needed to change some things, but they took pictures and like showed me. And I was like, that is very helpful. Like that is very helpful information rather than me just blindly believing you. I don't trust those guys.
Yeah. So, and I'm not out here just complaining. I know everybody has unexpected bills, and a $200 bill can be a $2,000 bill to someone. It's all relative. And at the end of the day, still here, still grinding, still showing up to the Buckhouse Podcast, episode 19. We're almost to 20, bro. And I think one of the best ways that I deal with stress is just showing up. It's so easy to try to hide from it, to shove your face in your phone and scroll, or, just avoid it. I used to go play video games, go watch TV, do anything but attack the issues head on, face on. And I've learned over the years that the only way to get past the stressful moments is to literally like rip that Band-Aid off and show up and figure it out and not to avoid it.
It's crazy, bros. I was literally just thinking about this yesterday because what I was doing, and what that is like, yeah, I've noticed that if I feel stressed about a situation, once again, the only thing I want to do is like be at home with my wife, just hanging out. That's my home right now, is like just me hanging out with my wife. That's like my safety area. But I'm like, that's not fixing any of my problems. And I need to just, like you said, like take it head on. And like, that's just the best way of dealing with stress. And I feel so bad for so many people that have like addictions in some ways. And I've talked about it before, like the 600-pound life and stuff of like these overweight people trying to lose weight, which is always like, I always love wholesome stories of that. But it truthfully is hard for them when it's like, they need to lose weight. They're not losing weight. So they get stressed. And what do they do when they get stressed? They eat more. And so they end up like gaining weight. And I'm like, it's just a vicious cycle. And it takes a lot of willpower and a lot of discipline to get out of that. But yeah, it's a vicious cycle that I think every human almost has to deal with, of like, I'm stressed, I'm going to avoid the situation. But it's like, no, take it head on.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to like fight or flight, are you a fighter or are you going to run away from it type situation? And so I'd be a liar if I said I was perfect at not trying to avoid something or being like, oh, I'll get to my emails tomorrow. Like, oh, I'll do it another day. I think a lot for me, it just always comes down to time. Like, am I getting enough time to focus on and knock out the things that I need to do? Because right now I feel like I'm lacking so much time, because not only do I need to go out and film, and then now I'm doing all the edits, but I got to get quality time in with my kids and my wife, of course. Thankfully, but also not thankfully, we started 75 Hard, which is a workout where you have to do all these challenges for 75 days. One of them, or two of them, is to work out once a day, one inside, one has to be outside. You could do two outside if you needed to. But 75 Hard, you had to drink a gallon of water, you had to read 10 pages of book. There's all these tasks that you have to do each day that are somewhat time consuming. But the cool thing is my wife is doing it with me. So all of a sudden now I'm kind of mixing, like, oh, I'm going to go work out while I'm doing it with my wife. I'm going to read with my wife. We're doing a lot of it together. So I'm getting that quality time with my wife, but then the kids need attention. And like the kids went and did like the walk with us yesterday outside. And so like that is some of the family time. But at the same time, it's like 75 Hard is taking a lot of my time away. So it's like fulfilling some time spots, but also taking it away. And all of a sudden, like at the end of the day, I'm like, I have 70 more things to do. I did not have enough time in today to get everything done.
Yeah, I know that the kids is probably a major or not problem, but like a major like issue when it comes to time, right? Because they do consume a lot of time and everything. But I was gonna say, just for me, it's like your average human can really sit down and so many people say, I don't have time for that or I'm too busy. And it's just outright wrong. You're lying to yourself, you're lying to your friends, you're lying to your family. Don't stop lying. You have the time. It's just about finding it. And it's incredible. Like when I struggle with that, I've said that it's something I've stopped doing because it's like, no, I'm not. But it's like, uh, something I've tried to stop doing is like saying that I'm busy, even though I'm not. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just so busy. But it's like, really, no, I still spend like an hour on my phone a day that I don't need to. Like that's an hour I could be doing something else, And it's like, so every human being can deal with that. Now, of course, I do believe in like enjoying life a little bit, right? Going and doing your own thing for a little bit, but as long as you are getting work done, I don't know. But time is such a funny thing when it comes to people.
Right. I mean, because we all have the same amount of it. I heard this lyric, by the way. I think it was G-Eazy, but he said like, if time is money, then I need a loan. I was like, dang, that's a pretty sick line. But we all have 24 hours. Like Ben has the same amount of time in his day as I have. It's like, how do you maximize it? And the only way I know how to get more time in your life and have more time than other people is to wake up earlier and to get like little sleep, or still get your 8 hours of sleep, but get up earlier where there's less distractions, so less things are happening, less people are asking for your time. Like when your friend calls and wants to catch up, and like those things are important, or like talking with your parents, conversations, even like me and Ben having a conversation, that stuff's important. But if someone's calling you and trying to talk to you while you're trying to complete an edit or get work done, that's bad timing. But if you woke up 3 hours before everyone else wakes up, now you have 3 hours of undistracted time to really focus and get stuff done.
I think I've mentioned it before, but there was a quote from the most like obscure I would never have ever thought I would get a quote from this person. And what it was, my wife was watching it on like Instagram or something, or she had it on the TV. But sure enough, Kim Kardashian said something that stuck with me. I never thought I would. Not saying not like discrediting Kim Kardashian. It's just I don't ever pay attention to her. She is a billionaire, but it's also like I don't pay attention to her. So like I don't, like the fact that I would get anything from that is funny. And what it was she was like, why are you staying up watching TV? She was like talking to somebody. She's like, why are you staying up late watching TV? And they're like, what do you mean? They're like, what? Like, why aren't you just waking up early? Like, what can you do at night that you can't do in the morning? Right? And she was basically like, why are you staying up late? Like, just go to bed, wake up early, and start your day off early. And I was like, that's so true. Like, if you just move your sleep is such a movable thing. As in, like, you can go to bed at like 8 and wake up at 4 a.m. and you're still getting 8 hours of sleep. Or you can go to midnight and wake up at 8 and you're still getting 8 hours of sleep, But it's like, now you're starting your day off much earlier, much more productive. You're getting a lot more done. You don't have those distractions. And I was just like, okay, maybe Kim Kardashian is a billionaire, but we're okay. No.
I also like the statement of like, okay, let's say you're on the East Coast, like East Coast versus West Coast. If you're in California and you wake up at 8, well, New York City has 3 hours ahead of you. That's if they're waking up at 8. If someone's waking up at 6, all of a sudden you're 5 hours behind the East Coast. That's a big deal in the sense of like, I mean, if you're doing timely stuff like stock market or business things that are like go 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 go. So yeah, like I wake up at 3 a.m., which that's crazy. Not everyone has to do that. I was successfully able to get on it today, coming back from a trip, because I don't do it when I'm on a trip. But coming back today, finally got back into the 3 a.m. grind today, and hopefully continue. It's momentum based, by the way. Waking up early is very momentum based, but it also comes down to you got to get to bed on time. If you don't go to bed on time, every half hour you're pushing back that the going to bed, it's so much harder to wake up in the morning.
I believe that. No, I don't know. I've been waking up no later than 6 a.m. for months now. For like almost 2 years or something. I don't know. 6 a.m. is, I'm never not awake past 6 a.m. But waking up at that 4 a.m. is so much easier for me to do when there's something that has to happen. As in, like, you and I doing this podcast. I have to be up. I have to be out of my bed, and I have to be ready for this podcast because we have to get the podcast done, right? So that's like a have to for me. And I think this is something that we've been talking about a little bit more of, which we can touch on later. I don't want to touch on it and dive too much into it right now, but it's like, just getting that motivation or that discipline where it's like, I have to wake up at 4, even when it's like just for my own sake. Like, if there's no one else depending on me, it's very difficult for me to like get up that early, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think that kind of comes down to what we kind of talked about last week's episode is how do you view yourself from like a third person view? Like, I have made it very known that I'm a person that wakes up early and I get stuff done early. And so it's almost like this third person, like, no, this is what you do, not just for you, but for everyone around you. I wake up at 3 a.m. so I can spend more time with my kids. Period, cut and dry, with my family, my wife. I wake up at 3 so I can get 4 hours of undistracted time to grind out emails and messages and edits and posting and thumbnails. So when the kids wake up at 7, I can make them breakfast, get them ready for the day, then go work, and then come home. And then when I come home, ideally, everything's been done. And I can turn off the social media lifestyle that always has something else to do and just focus on the family. So for you, it might feel like, oh, if I don't wake up at 3 a.m., like I'm doing it for me. There's not a have to wake up early or 4 a.m., whatever. But if you can get yourself to truly believe, like, no, I wake up at 4 a.m. so I can spend the best afternoon with Kirsty, and I get to also maybe get to play some video games later in the day. And also, like, that's who I am. I am a person that wakes up even if there's not this like have to get it done thing.
Now, I did write down, which admittedly I can't remember exact, because I wrote a lot. After that podcast, I actually wrote like 3.5 pages in my journal, just kind of recapping a lot of stuff. But also I did write down like the way I want other people to see me and everything. Like I said, I don't fully remember because I wrote a lot. I don't remember exactly word for word what I said, but I did say it, and it sounds. I want to hear your thought on this, bro.
Yeah, I want to hear it, dude. How do you want people to see you? I want to hear it.
Well, so that's not what I was going to approach, but we can kind of talk about it. But I was like going to say, I was like winding up to what I was going to say. Like, I was writing down my notes. I was like, yeah, Johnathan really encouraged me to write down the way I see people perceive me. And I was like, I'm going to write some stuff. This is what I was like essentially saying. I was like, I'm going to write some stuff, and it's going to sound egotistical and like kind of cocky or confident or whatever, but maybe that's what I need. That's what I said. I was like, maybe that's what I need. I need to be more self-centered. I need to be more egotistical. I need to be more about myself. Maybe that's what I need to add more, like, I want to say respect towards myself, but how do I want to say this? Like, I've always put other people's wants above mine. I've been a people pleaser. And so it's like, maybe it's time for me to say, no, I'm the important one here. Does that make any sense? Do you know what I'm saying? Does this make sense?
Yeah, I think you're saying it totally wrong. So there's a couple ways to look at it. So one of my favorite sayings is from Jim Rohn, and it's, I don't need you to be better for me. I need to be better for me for you. I think I said that wrong. But essentially it's, I'm going to work on myself to be a better version of me for you. Does that make sense? So like with Kirsty, you don't need to do things for Kirsty or try to be make Kirsty better. Like, you're not going to make your wife better. You're going to make yourself better for your wife. And then in that aspect, it's going to make her better because you've become better. So I'll work on me for you, and you work on you for me.
I see what you're saying. I think that we're talking about two different things, though. I like that, though, a lot. I like that a lot. And I do notice that, like, there's certain things, like, Kirsty and I really do build each other up and work on things. Like, for instance, the Whole30 diet. Really, she was the one that was like, take initiative, like, let's do this right now. And I was like, okay, that works for me. And like, we did it, and we really like helped each other. And so, and like, there's just other aspects I don't want to dive into, but it's like, no, I 100% see that. And I really like that of like, I need to work on myself to make it easier for her. And she does stuff that she works on to make it easier for me. So I get that. I like that. What I was just saying though, bro, is that a lot of the times I struggle is like, I'll do anything for someone else. Like if you were like, hey bro, I need you to wake up at 3 a.m. Like, you know, I like, how am I saying? Like, you really need help. Like, I need you to wake up at 3 a.m. with me and edit this and start editing this video. Like, all right, sounds good. I would drive to the mountains, spend the night, wake up at 3 with you, pound some energy drinks, bust out these edits, get everything done. Not a problem. But it's like, all right, now did that, bro. Like, no problem. See you later, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go home. I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. tomorrow to work on my stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to wake up at 3 a.m. and work on my stuff. I would do it for you, but I won't do it for myself. And like I said, it sucks to say, but it's like, it's almost like I don't have that respect or that drive for my own stuff. Like, I'm more willing to help you than I am willing to help myself. And that's just the way I've always been. And I'm like, what if it's time for me to stop being like, yeah, I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you. I'll do that. And it's like, no, I need to start doing stuff for myself. I'm the important one. Not saying that you're not. It's just like, I'm important too. I matter. I need to get this done for myself. Does that make sense?
I think it's either a story that you're telling yourself. So because it all comes down to what you're telling. So you're telling yourself, like, I have to get this done for my brother because he asked me to, and I refuse to let him down. Like, that's my bro. I'm there for him. I'm showing up. Well, you need to have that same story for yourself. Like, I told myself that I'm going to do this, and I refuse to not show up for myself. I am, super important to me. It's important to my family. It's important to my livelihood. I'm showing up because that's what I do. I do not let myself down.
Yeah. So that's it's a different verbiage of what I was saying, but what I was getting at was like, when I was explaining the third person view of myself, it was like, maybe I need to be a little bit more like, maybe I should be giving myself more credit than I do. If that makes, like, I should be talking myself up. I should be more about myself, and not saying that it's like I need to be selfish. More like I need to care more about the way I think other people see. I don't know how to say this. It's basically just like saying, as like, I need to respect myself and my wants more. That's what I was essentially saying. It's like, I don't respect my wants. I respect other people's wants more than I respect my own wants. That's what I was saying. And so, yeah, if it's telling myself a story that convinces myself a different way, then yes. But the point is that it's like, I need to show more respect towards myself in my wants and my desires than the same way that I show respect for other people's desires. Does that make sense now? Are we on the same page now?
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me. And it is what I'm saying is trying to help you find a way to tell yourself that. But what I will say is, don't stop taking care of other people's wants and desires or being there for people, because that is one of your best traits and that's something that you're incredible at. And instead, and I'm not saying you said you're going to do this or you're going to do this, but make sure that you don't become someone that has then cut that aspect out of your life to just only do you, when you just need to figure out how to do this stuff for yourself, but also you can still be that incredible person that has always helped others or things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that I need to be this terrible person that doesn't care about other people. It's just purely that it's like I put more effort into other people than I put in myself, and by a drastic margin.
Why? Not to turn this into a therapy session, but why?
I think everyone has their own theories on how they get traits about themselves. I don't want to. I personally think it comes from our mother, as in, I have vivid memories of like mom and dad fighting on the phone, and us going and like cleaning up the house, like because we could tell that mom was upset, and so we started taking an initiative to like start doing other things. And sure, that's nice or whatever, but it's like it was us just trying to make sure that mom was happy. That's all that it was just make sure mom was happy. And then just like never left going through like high school and stuff. It was always like I just always had to do stuff just to make mom happy. And it was always, she'd be like, do you want to go to the zoo for the 17th time this summer? And I'd be like, no, I don't. And she's like, well, you're going to go anyways and you're going to have a fun time. And it's like, well, might as well just go and make mom happy. Like, that's just what I did. Just always what I did was make mom happy.
But why can you not do it for yourself?
I don't know.
I totally understand why you're doing it for other people. Does that make sense? But I think a good quest for you to figure out is, why won't I do these things for myself? Why won't I follow through on the promises I make myself?
That's what I was just saying, trying to explain, is that it's like, maybe I need to be more egotistical about myself. Maybe I need to think that I am the coolest thing in the world. Maybe I need to think that I'm the best thing. And that will add that drive to be like, I deserve this. I deserve to care about my stuff. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's like my entire life I've always been doing it for somebody else. And it's like, maybe I need to start caring more about myself and think more highly of myself to make sure that I'm getting this stuff done for myself.
Or maybe you got to think that the stuff that you're doing for yourself is for other people. I need to wake up and get this edit done because this video is going to be for these people. That's going to better their life.
I do see that. And guys, update. Minecraft video is literally like, it's going to be done today. And I'm so excited. Johnathan, I might talk about this on the podcast, but we're going to spend a couple of days together working, and we're going to go over the video. We're going to like finalize it. It's going to be so good. And so I've been getting more of that with it's like with that video. I'm like, I'm so excited to make this video because I think it's a great video, and I think a lot of people are really going to like it. And like, I think that a lot of people are going to benefit from it. So I do kind of have that aspect in some ways, but that's a lot, not vaguer, but it's like, I don't see the people that are going to watch the video. So it doesn't have that same weight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but one day you will see them. I have gotten to a point where I've met thousands of people that watch my videos, and I've met a bunch of them that have come to my camps, or just met people consistently that go to the same mountains that I'm going to. And I always say this, like, one way to get better at talking at the camera, or like one reason I've gotten better at talking at the camera is when I look at the camera, I think of these people that I've met and I'm speaking to them directly, almost like a FaceTime, than a camera. And it allows me to speak better. And so like, when you finally do start meeting these people, you will be like, I got to get this done because I know that Jono is like waiting for my edit today and it's going to stoke him out. Or I know Carlo like really like gets 15 minutes of relaxation a day from my edit, and like that's got to come out because I'm not going to disappoint him. Yeah,
I can see that.
And that work, once again, that waking up and getting that edit done, all these things is for me, it's my channel. I benefit from it, but it also goes to people and helps them and benefits them. And I mean, mainly during COVID time, I got tons of messages of like, dude, like I'm locked up. I can't snowboard. My resorts are shut down. Like, your videos are helping me so much right now. And I really, really got to see the benefit that my videos have for people. And it's another reason why it's like, I'm showing up today and I'm not going to show up.
That's awesome. Nah, I I think something that you've been pushing that I really need to work on is this like storytelling, or this not like this stuff you tell yourself that you have to like stick to. Like you've been saying, like, I'm somebody that wakes up, so I wake up early. You know, like I show up early and I get stuff done. That's what I do. And like that's just what you do. And I've just never done that. And like I said, I did write down the way I want other people to see me and everything. And I think that doing kind of like daily affirmations with that is something that I can really benefit from, and that's what I need to do. Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you've done daily affirmations.
Your internet just went all over the place. Did you just ask if I did daily affirmations?
Yeah, that was my last question. I was going to ask you, have you been doing daily affirmations, or do you have them? I've kind of done daily affirmations, but I am definitely someone that, like, when I tell myself that I'm this way, it kind of sticks pretty quick. But some people, like, they need those daily affirmations. They need to, whether they record it and then they play it every day in the car, or some people read them off of like a paper or a notebook every day, or they have them on the wall. But just like, I'm a hard worker, I show up on time, I'm never late, things like that. And like, is some people find that stuff goofy, but like it does work. Like I know I have gone so deep in the motivational videos, into the self-help. I mean, I'm doing 75 hard right now, the self-improvement. I've done so much of it. And some people are like, oh, that's cheesy, that's this, that's that. But like, I have also found like incredible success from it. And I'm a totally different person than I used to be when I wasn't doing it. So I don't know. I think it's worth a shot.
So I want to touch on what you were saying about the cheesiness of like daily affirmations and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to touch on that, but I'm telling you that to remind me, just in case I forget. Okay, but daily affirmations is something I did do. I was doing it for a long time, and it's not that I've stopped. It's just my routine has changed. And what I mean by that is, when I was driving to work every day, there was two things I did that are quote unquote cheesy. This is what I want to talk about. But I think that it's so wrong that people think that it's like cheesy, or they should be shameful of this or anything like that. Like, we should be proud of this and this opportunity, that, or like just taking pride in like bettering ourselves. And what I mean by that is, every day when I was driving to my new job, what I was doing was I was listening to this one daily affirmations video on YouTube. And it was just like, I am successful. I'm ready to, take myself to the next level. When I set my mind to something, I'm unstoppable. Like, just stuff like that. Just like very like positive affirmation type stuff. And yeah, I would listen to that. It was about 10 minutes. By the time I was done listening to it, I was right around Nevada and Austin Bluffs / Garden of the Gods. I was right at that intersection, which you get a great view at Pikes Peak at that intersection. And then what I would do, but that's when the video would end. And then I would start praying. And that was something I haven't done in many, many, many years. So it's I'm just now getting back into that side of my life of like the religion and having a relationship with God more so than anything. But yeah, so I was listening to the daily affirmations, saying them out loud, and then I would pray and try to focus my prayer about being thankful. I think people need to be more grateful in life, including myself, very much myself. But it's like, yeah, so I would take that time to do that. That's what I would do every single day before I would go to work. I would not listen to music. I would sometimes listen to podcasts or books or whatever, but most of the time I was like listening to daily affirmations and praying. And I just think that so many people are ashamed to like at least admit that they do that stuff, because they think that people are going to judge them for it. Like, I feel like there's, in this culture that we live in, people essentially shame other people for like wanting to better themselves, or just wanting to like have a good mindset about things. I don't know. Even when I got my tattoo, nobody cares, work harder. Like, one of my colleagues kind of made like a joke where he's like, yeah, nobody cares, work. Yeah, just get work done. Yeah, I'm a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like that's what he said. And I'm like, I didn't let it faze me, but it's just like, because it was a weird joke. But anyways, it was like, what's wrong with me like having that mindset? Like, I don't know. Some people are just they judge other people for wanting to better themselves. And I just find that to be so like that, just backwards, you know?
I mean, it's a dangerous road to try and to figure out why people put other people down or go do things. By the way, I have it sitting right here. Someone tried to glitter bomb me on my live stream. They sent me this Stargazer incense package. I'm holding up this package right now for the listeners. And they're like, love your videos, learned how to snowboard from it. Please open this on stream. And I was like, that's so vague. And then I like took a second to like look at what I got. And I was like, oh, this is a freaking glitter bomb. Did some research and sure enough, this thing is full of glitter. And someone tried to get me to, I don't know if it could have been a joke. It could have been a hater, but essentially someone tried to, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to make content with it is what I'm going to do. But yeah, people want to put you down, whether that's they want to talk down your God or they want to talk down your beliefs or the fact you're trying to better yourself, or, I'm doing 75 hard right now and people are gonna be out there be like, oh, following the trends or doing this or like gonna talk down. I'm like, hey man, like what I've been doing hasn't worked. Like I want to be in better shape. I've lost a lot of weight, but I'm not getting to the body that I want to be at. So I'm gonna try this next thing, which is this like hard challenge. It's hard. It's already making my life harder and I'm tired. I'm more tired than I would be not working out 2 times a day. And, people just, they usually project when they are sad about something that they don't have in life or they can't do in life. And so, yeah, it's just, it's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down.
I think it's an intimidation thing. They're intimidated by you for wanting to better yourself. That makes sense.
I was gonna say some people, they want to have your job or that they're at the same job as you, same, they're your peers, same level or whatever, but they're intimidated by you because you are working hard or you have this mindset of like, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be better. And so instead of them being like, oh, I'm going to rise to the occasion and I'm going to be better too, and like we both can rise and work hard, they're going to say, oh, you work hard, no one cares, that's stupid, your tattoo's stupid. And they're going to try and put you down or try and discourage you from working hard or doing what you said you were going to do.
The natural, I don't know. Let's not dive into it, but the just politics and like also just when it comes to like cell phones, Android versus iPhone, or just sports teams or any of that stuff, like people have this natural want to like disagree with someone else and be mad at them, and I can't wrap my head around it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen so much lately, and I want to pull myself away from it, and we kind of have, like we normally have the news on in the morning, but we haven't, just because of how like toxic it has been and everything. But it's just, yeah, like the way that people treat other people, especially when it comes to politics, just because they've got a different opinion, is mind-blowing to me. Just because I have a different opinion from you, you like hate me. You don't know anything about me other than this one opinion, and you hate me for that. Like, it's mind-blowing, dude. It's mind-blowing.
It's because people are getting dumber. Their phones are getting smarter, and they are getting dumber. If you hate somebody based off their political view, you are a stupid person. If you cannot look at this whole world and be like, there is a lot of different people that have different life situations, that live in different areas of the planet. And if you've ever been on the East Coast and then you go to Nebraska, they're living 2 different lives. If you ever been to California and then you go to the bottom half of Colorado, they're living different lives. So yes, they're going to think different. They're going to have different priorities, and they're going to have different wants and needs for their families and for their communities. And so yes, to think everybody should have the same mindset and agree on the same things is absurd. And that's why I like power to the state. Let states decide what they want to do. Let the people in their states best vote for the things that they need to have happening in their state. That's kind of how the whole the United States was meant to be like. I mean, and I'm kind of going on politics right now, but even if it's not political, if someone wants to be very focused on finances, like that's fine. Let them really care about their money. If someone really wants to focus on their health, let them focus on their health. You got to let people live their lives and stop trying to put down or not assist or make other people's lives harder. If you're making someone else's life harder, you're a jerk. And I think that's the end of that.
Yeah, there's like this natural competition that I guess people like, and competition is
because
good.
We're animals. We're animals.
No, seriously. I'm gonna come back to something, but so no, there's this natural competition, and competition is good. And what I mean by that is it's good for humans to have like competition. No matter what, even if you don't think that if you're like not a sports person or this or that, you like competition. Us humans, the reason why MMA fighting and boxing and all that exists is because we've been doing that for thousands of years. Gladiators, people like to see competition. Like it's a natural thing. Everybody likes it. And it's also extremely good for us as humans in the sense of like, I'm going to touch on the phone subject, iPhone versus Android, right? If we didn't have two giants or three giants of like Samsung, Apple, and Google to make phones and everything, let's say it was just Apple could just make one phone and like that's it. And that's our only option. So that like that's the best we're going to get. And it's pretty bad, but hey, we got a phone. Whereas now there's Samsung and Apple and Google, and all three of them are like, we have to better the other two to make the best phone possible. So us consumers are getting better quality stuff, or not, in theory, we're getting better quality stuff because they're needing to compete with each other. Like they need to compete to each other, so we're benefiting. So competition is good, but just that obsessive need. Like I hate bringing up phones in public nowadays because it'd be like, if I'm like, hey, I need a phone charger, they're like, what phone do you have? I'm like, I got an iPhone, but I can use a USB-C because I got the new iPhone, so I can use a USB-C. And somebody's gonna be like, oh, it's about time iPhone switched to USB-C, am I right? And it's just like, I don't care, dude. I don't care. I need to charge my phone, please. Like the excessive...
In my world too, you got like what snowboards are on. I get so many people want to give me hate because of the brands I'm sponsored by. Like, oh, you're not a pro snowboarder because you ride Clue, or you're not a pro snowboarder because Kuno Optics is your goggle sponsor. I'm like, do they go on your face? Do they protect your eyes from the sun and snow? So they work. Like, I don't know.
I know it. Yeah. Like, just people have this.
Another saying I love is don't major in minor things. So, the nuances of the phone, like, I don't care what phone I have. I stick with Apple because it works with my computer really well. And airdropping is so nice. Like, my stuff talks to itself. That's why I'm with Apple. If I had an Android, guess what? I could still call. I could still text. I could still upload on Instagram and YouTube and all that type of stuff on my phone. So, like, don't major in the minor things. Like, that stuff doesn't matter. The gear I'm on matters to the 10th of a degree, but it doesn't matter. You could still go out and have an incredible day on any snowboard. There's some, those are minor things. So
I think a common term that that you hear in video gaming, which we won't talk too much about. People didn't like that so much in the last podcast, but it's called head casing. And it's essentially, so in video games, there's certain settings. It's called basically like with your joystick. It's like how fast does the computer read your inputs? Like, is it fast? So it's like if you move just an inch, are you moving actually like 12 inches on screen? Or if you move an inch, are you moving 6 inches on screen? Right, that type of stuff. So it's just how fast you're moving. And a lot of players struggle with it, and if they aren't playing that well, they think it's their sensitivity, or they think it's this, or they think it's that, or they think they need to do this, they need to do that. They think they need to change so much, but really it's like none of that is affecting your experience. It's you and your brain and yourself that's affecting the experience. And so that's kind of what you're saying. It's like, just because, if the objectively best snowboard ever is a burden or whatever. Not even that. It's like if not even objective. It's like a subjective thing. If I think that Burton is the best snowboard ever, but if you think Gilson's the best snowboard ever, and you're riding a Gilson, who am I to say that you're having a bad time? Like, you go have fun with your Gilson. I'm gonna go have fun with my Burton, or whatever. I'm just shooting examples. I don't own a Burton. I ride K2s,
and it's one of those things too where, once again, everybody's life experience is so different because not everyone has the same weight. Not everyone moves the same. Like, there's so many different nuances. Like, I like this board because it works for me, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you or for someone else.
But no, that's a common thing where people are like, they share those settings in the video game. Like, they'll be like, oh, what's yours? So I can copy it. Or like, oh, that person's playing really well. I wonder what his settings are. But it's really like, it's all personal preference. And that's what I tell a lot of people when I'm teaching people stuff, and a lot of the stuff where I'm like if I'm teaching somebody how to snowboard, one of the last people I taught how to snowboard, they learned toe side first. And that's like a thing, right? Like Tyler, our brother, learned toe side before he learned heel side. That's not traditional, but who am I to say you're doing this wrong? Stop like, no, if you're going to learn toe side faster than you learned heel side, that's only going to benefit you at the end of the day. Now you can learn heel side easier than you would have learned toe side. Like, we're all on this earth with different experiences and different, just the way that we are and the way that we learn and the different brains and everything. It's like, stop messing with other people. Just let them do them,
It's funny you mentioned the, like, asking, like, what settings are you playing on, whatever like that, because a lot of people be like, what snowboard size do you have? And I'm like, that's very, like, that doesn't matter. Like, that, like, this, my snowboard size to my body. Like, like, unless you are 5'6", 160 pounds, my snowboard size doesn't matter to you. Like,
now, there's very specific thing. It's like, they'd be like, what boot size do you wear? Now,
I get that too. Like, what boot size are you? And I'm like, baby feet. I don't know.
You are interesting, though, because not only do you have small feet, but you also get boots that are 2 sizes too small for you.
Yeah. Well, that way when they pack out, dude, my feet, the break-in process is brutal, but my feet, once it's all said and done, my feet feel good in my boots. On that note, I have gone snowboarding since my ankle injury, and I'm feeling good on the snowboard. I made like a season recap video yesterday, and it got me hyped. Sometimes, and maybe this is what you were saying earlier, but sometimes I gotta like remind myself that I'm good at what I do. Like, I might go, I had it was about 6 weeks of almost not doing anything. And when I did do stuff, I was doing it at a lower ability, and not riding very good, and hurt. So I'm like kind of down on my ability. And then I got super incredible people telling me how much I suck in my comments and stuff. And then, I sit down and I pull all the ride videos from the season, and I shove them in an editor, and I go through and pull out all the best clips, and I put together like a 4-minute edit, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm pretty good at this, like, sliding down a mountain on a piece of wood thing. And, just remind yourself that, like, now what you're doing is good, and you are good, and keep at it.
That is something I really like about having footage. And what I mean by that is, because like, I know 100% what you mean. So I've got footage for Halo to make a montage, and dude, I can make a pretty solid montage. I'm proud of, like, seeing the clips I've done. I'm like, dang, I actually am pretty good at the game. Like, there's moments where I'm like, dang. So I know what you mean by that, but it's also like watching a older video that you edited, but it's a good video that you edited. And like, if you ever rewatch it, or if you like stumble upon it and you're like, oh yeah, that video, like you're saying, like, it reminds you, you're like, no, I am pretty good at this stuff. And like, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to, like, instead of you getting so focused on like the doing, just kind of taking a step back and appreciating what you can do, I think is like a really positive aspect that you can do.
And have done. What you can do and what you have done. Like, when I look back at the channel, it's like, dude, I'm 8 years in, done 4 years of daily uploads in a row. I have traveled to multiple countries now, and multiple states and done incredible things, from heli snowboarding to cat snowboarding to having 60 kids show up at a Midwest ski resort and just having a mob of kids like wanting autographs and photos. And like, it's like, if you told 19-year-old me when I moved to the mountains that you were going to do it, like it was going to come out, like you will be a professional snowboarder, you will have a career in snowboarding, I'd be so hyped at what I'm doing in this moment. And that goes back to what you were saying about being grateful and gratitude, and taking time to stop and reflect at like how far you've come, what you've accomplished, those promotions, like how good you've gotten at your job. It is important to stop and just be like, all right, no, like I am good at what I do, or I have done a lot. Because it's so easy to just have 2 bad days in a row and you're just like, dude, I suck, or like this isn't working, or like what's wrong with me.
So that is kind of what I was getting at earlier, of like, instead of being so down on yourself, being more like uplifting, right? And more like kind of impressed with yourself. I was trying to find something literally at the end of like what you were saying, because it reminded me of something, but I read something online this morning. I can't remember where. It probably was on like Instagram. I'm going to try to find this real fast, but it was talking about kind of like what you were saying. Oh, yeah, here I found it. It says, you're so in your head, you can't even enjoy where you are. And the gratefulness, I think that's, that's what I took away from this, is like, that's something I felt personally lately, is like, I'm so much in my head that I can't just be grateful for what I have, and just remembering that like I live in America, which, as much as we just were kind of ragging on politics and stuff, it's like we are one of the best countries in the world when it comes to like freedom and just what we can do and what we can make of it, and just like how fortunate we are. And like, I'm complaining about these issues I'm having and like all this stuff, but it's like, I have so much to be grateful for. And I'm like, so much in like, you're so in your head, you can't enjoy where you are. And like, that's just, yeah, that's why I'm like trying to take a step back and be grateful for some things, but also being appreciative of the small things, or appreciative of the things I can do or have done, that type of stuff. So yeah.
Gratitude, man. I have that's funny, because I was complaining about like all the bills that I had to put into the car and the snowmobile and the camper and things like that. But right now in my driveway, the camper is still hooked up to the Expedition, and the FJ has the sled still hooked up to it because I haven't moved it. So like all the toys essentially are hooked up on the cars and in front of the driveway. And I was walking the trash can back yesterday down the driveway, and I looked at my driveway and I was like, dang, man. Like, as much as like that sucked, it's so sick, and I'm so thankful that I have a snowmobile to even have to put $2,000 into, and that I have, all these things. And I had this thought process, or this, what I'm about to say, come into my mind when I was flying back from my snowboard camp 3 years ago, when I was hosting my camp, and Bobby hits me with a text saying, just got back from the doctors. They said that I've gone into labor and Bristol could come at any moment. You need to come home. So I like had 2 weeks of a snowboard camp. I'm like halfway through one of them, and I need to immediately come back to Colorado. And so now I'm not there to host my camps. I got to refund all these people. All these like issues start happening. And I'm on the plane, and I thought, I'm blessed to have the issues that I have, if that makes sense. Like I'm, like not everyone has a snowmobile, but I have a snowmobile. It had an issue, but I'm still blessed that I have a snowmobile. And guess what? Now it works really, really, really good. So you should be thankful for your issues, or hopefully you can be thankful for your issues. Because I know like, oh no, like I have to leave this snowboard camp because I'm about to have a daughter, which is like the raddest thing ever. Like it's a really good problem.
No, I get that. I try, like, I didn't even want to mention it earlier because how minuscule it was, but it's more so, like I said, if anything could go wrong, it was going wrong. And that is, I've been Ubering for my job because I still have not found a job yet. So I was Ubering around and my tire pressure light was going on. And like, it tells me the exact tire pressure. It said 16 PSI. And I'm like, what? That's not good. Sure enough, while Ubering around, I drove over a screw and got that in my tire, and like that sucked, and it was very frustrating because it was like all I'm trying to do is make money right now, and I can't even drive my car safely. It's costing me. Yeah, it's costing me money. Now, luckily, like you said, like be grateful. I purposely bought tires from Discount Tire, and I purposely bought their warranty. It's $50 a tire, and if anything happens to it, you get a new replacement, and all you have to do is buy the warranty. So like I said, it's a minuscule problem. I only had to spend $50 to get a whole new tire. That's a steal. But it was like, I was frustrated because my perception of it was, I'm just trying to make money, and I can't even make money without having to spend money on stupid stuff. Like that was my perspective. But at the end of the day, it was like, I've got a car that I get to drive. Not everyone gets to do that. And I also have new tires on there that are safe for the vehicle, so that's a good thing. I also bought the warranty like a responsible, smart person, and I only have to spend $50 on this instead of like $250. Like, why am I so upset right now? You know? So I like that, like putting that perspective is like, be thankful for the problems you have. It's like that problem is super small at the end of the day, and I'm thankful that was the problem I had rather than somebody running a red light and totally my car that happened last year. You know?
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, address your frustrations. It's okay to be frustrated, or like when I had to leave my snowboard camp, I was sad, or like when I got the bill for $2,000 for the snowmobile, I'm like, this is a toy. In a way, I use it for work. It's a tool for my job at the same time. But, it's like, address those frustrations. It's okay to be like irritated by it for a moment. Then reflect on it, be thankful for your problems, and then move on. You can't dwell on these things. You can't just sit and continue to dwell on the flat tire, on, the fact that Bobby's car's brakes had issues and we had to do all this stuff. And like, so yes, it's okay to, in a way, quote unquote, grieve it, but you got to move on. You cannot sit and dwell on things.
Well, on that note, I think that's the perfect note to end the podcast on. Don't dwell on things. Be grateful. Think highly of yourself. You're a cool person. Do cool stuff.
Hopefully, the audio was good on my end, by the way, guys. Not to dwell on the past. Microphone. I'm trying so hard to figure out this audio thing because for some reason, the microphones that sound amazing when I go snowboarding sound like crap in this office and sound like crap in Kevin's room. And I'm just trying to give you guys the best audio. I don't understand it.
I don't know what it is, because I'm like, think about it. I'm like watching your snowboard videos, they sound fine, but as soon as you're like in an office setting, it's like it picks up so much more. I don't know. It also could be editing softwares. We'll figure it out. I'm excited to hear this new microphone though. So yeah. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. This was episode 19. Next week, episode 20, bro. That's exciting.
I'm nervous. Maybe we do something big, like do it in person.
What? Are you gonna tease that? Wow. Maybe it's in person. Maybe it's not. You're going to have to find out next week by subscribing. Anything else to say, bro?
Nope. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribing, liking to the number one podcast in the world. And we'll see you guys next week with another episode.
Peace.
Peace.